Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 6 of our Dream Big, Act Small podcast. This podcast is for those of you who refuse to accept the status quo and are striving to become local and global influencers in society. My name is Joey Jenkins, your host, and I am privileged and honored to have Jocelyn Kuhn as our guest today. Jocelyn, thanks for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so Jocelyn is a wife, mother of 3. She's a hairstylist for many years now, a volleyball coach, a life coach, and is doing amazing work locally and globally. So we're really excited to have you on the show and excited to have the audience hear more about what you do, how you do it. So if you would just mind starting off by telling us a little bit about your background, your business that you're currently launching and are doing some amazing work with, the vision for it, and your desires for the future.
Yeah, I recently started a new website and business called Your Best Life Daily. And the main goal and vision of that company is to really inspire and empower women and really anyone, but I've kind of geared it more toward women, but to just live out their best life every day through daily practices that I've kind of always been a geek of the self-help industry and different practices that I've learned through different books that I've read and podcasts and being around and in that space. And my goal is just to bring that stuff to people that they can use in their everyday life. And I definitely juggle a lot of different things. I have a salon in my home, and I've done that for 13 years and built up a great clientele doing that. I've coached volleyball for 10 years. I have 3 kids and a husband, and they all stay pretty busy. So between all my different ventures, I stay very busy.
Wow. Yeah, I'm excited to talk a little bit later on the podcast about how you manage to balance all of that effectively and keep your head above water. There's many entrepreneurs who will be listening and are struggling with that themselves. But you talked about self-help and being a geek in the industry and following for many years. What age did you start following some of the mentors that you've listened to?
Well, it's funny because I actually started off my I guess career is in the self-help field, actually just absolutely hating having to listen to Tony Robbins in the back of my parents' car. And I used to beg them to turn it off and let us listen to music. And then I don't know what happened, but somewhere probably around 17 or 18, I really started loving and enjoying it. I still have a paper I wrote for my dad. I think I got in trouble. I can't remember what I got in trouble for, but I was like 11 and he made me read 7 Habits of Highly Successful Teens and write him a book report before I could get ungrounded. So I was geeking out way before I wanted. Yes, it was really good parenting, and I've turned to that tactic a few times myself. So
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So I know you said,
time.
so you said you 10 years old were hating listening to Tony Robbins, but I know recently that you attended, because I was at the same event, the Portland Live Tony Robbins event. Tell us about the transformation and what you think now.
Oh my gosh. I love Tony Robbins. I can honestly say that, later on, I went through some pretty difficult things in my early 20s, losing my dad suddenly. And I don't think I would have gotten through it all the way I did without Tony Robbins. So I feel like as much as it started with a love-hate relationship, I have absolutely come to love and enjoy all of his work and think he's one of the most influential people in the world and definitely one of the most influential people in my life.
Yeah, no, I know we both share a learning and a way that we were impacted by him and his work. You brought up also the adversities that you've encountered, and I just know from hearing your personal story more in depth, a lot of the challenges that you've overcome and that have shaped you to be the incredible person you are today. Can you just maybe talk about how adversity has played a positive role in your life and the role that you think confronting adversity with optimism plays?
Yeah, I feel like probably the biggest blessings in my life have been the adversity that I've been through. And um, without going into too much detail, there's been a few things in my life that have really been challenges. One was being sexually abused as a younger child, and the second one that was a big one for me was going through my dad's death, and going through a lot of things around that happened around that same time frame. But one of my clients, I remember shortly after my dad died, shared with me that her son had passed away 40 years prior. He had drowned in the bathtub, and um, one of the things that she told me was the only thing that has gotten her through the last 40 years was using that experience to do something good in the world. Every time that she'd feel the most down, she would go do something good in the world and do it in her son's honor.
Hmm.
And I just really thought that it just seemed like the best way to handle pain, because we're all going to experience pain in our lives. And I think I've seen enough people where pain destroys them that I knew I didn't want that life. And so I really tried to embrace that technique, I guess, for dealing with pain. And I was able to start a nonprofit and do some really amazing things in honor of my dad, and kind of create a good legacy for him. And it just has always been the thing that gets me through the most challenging times, is just, what can I do or give or be for somebody else in my time of pain, because you just can't be sad when you're giving to other people.
Well, I love seeing what you've done with your pain, because just knowing some of the, deep wounds and challenges that you've come through, but to see how you've come through them on the other side and been able to now be giving back in the prison system. I know you came and spoke at the McLaren Youth Correctional Facility recently. You're going to be going to Haiti in June, and you're using your pain to bless others, to connect with them in places that many people couldn't connect with them, and doing it through a really powerful business that you're creating. So I'm excited to see how you've used that pain, how you've overcome the adversity and obstacles, and where you're going to take it. Because I know it's going to be big, and I think it's going to be Tony Robbins type scale. So I'm excited to watch that. And I think the audience should definitely be following your work and the amazing stuff that you're putting out. So thanks for all that you do and the way that you overcome that.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I also think, one thing, I don't feel like I've been through that much pain in my life. So, I know it's all relative to your own experiences and stuff, but I mean, I've had a pretty blessed and amazing life. And I think that we all experience pain at some point in some way in our lives. So, what is my pain is maybe not somebody else's, but definitely there's always room for adversity to help push us in the direction of what's good and what is going to help the world. And most of the people I think that are in the space of self-help, they all have stories around that and what, their adversity taught them. And I don't know that you get to that level of success without understanding that a little bit. So
Yeah. Well, so many people break under adversity, but you started a nonprofit, and I love what you said, that you can't be hurting when you're giving. And so how old were you when you started the nonprofit? And maybe just tell us a little bit about that journey for you.
yeah, I was 22. My dad had just died. I had my client that came in and talked to me and shared her story with me about her son. And right after that, I heard about a girl in our community who was fighting leukemia. She was a high school student. And so I decided to do a big fundraiser in my salon for her. And then through that, I found out that one of their needs was like her big wish and dream was that her parents could have their home remodeled so that if something were to happen to her, she didn't feel like she was leaving them with nothing. Or just a very selfless giving girl. And her parents had given and given to the community and were very involved in their church. And it just really inspired me that out of everything that she could pick, she would choose to do something for her parents and her family.
Hmm.
And so I had no idea how to start a nonprofit, and had very limited resources at the time. But I knew that there was a need, and I really wanted to fulfill it. So I was involved in the Chamber of Commerce at the time pretty heavily, and I found a woman who was a designer, and she did interior design and decorating, and we kind of had become friends through the Chamber of Commerce. And I asked her if she'd be interested in kind of figuring out how to make this all happen. And we were lucky enough to get another nonprofit company organization to kind of help sponsor us through the process of forming our nonprofit and getting our 501c3 and all of that, so that we could make it happen. At first, I just thought, oh, we'll just go remodel this girl's house and we'll find people that want to help us. And it was a very naive, I guess, naive way to think about it, but it
Sometimes
was
being naive helps
amazing
us
to
take
see
that
how
first step.
people, yes, totally. And it was amazing to see how the community responded. And definitely we had to get that 501c3 so that we could get people the tax benefits that they needed to get involved as a company. And but we ended up doing a huge home makeover, and it was very similar to like the home makeover show. I don't remember the name, but it was really amazing. And their family was such a blessing, and have continued. She actually has made a full recovery now, and as soon as she started getting better, they didn't think she was going to, and as soon as she started getting better, she was calling me, what can I do to help future people, and what can I do to give back? And so it was just a really great opportunity to give to somebody who's really deserving, and it grew me in ways that I did not know I could grow at that point.
Yeah,
So it
no,
was
that's
amazing.
amazing. Well, thank you for your time and service
Yeah.
and that nonprofit and all the work you did there. You know, you're talking about so many different spaces, and obviously the pace of our world now, life is so busy for people that so many people struggle with life balance. How do you manage that personally and still operate in a high level in all the spaces that you're in? Because I know you do, but how do you balance that and manage that emotionally? And yeah, how do you do it?
Well, first of all, thank you for thinking that I do. And I, I sometimes feel like I do it pretty well, and other times I feel like I'm drowning. So I think it's one of those things that it's always going to be a struggle, just because I do so many different things. But um, I've always wanted to be a really big part of my kids' lives, and I've always really had a deep desire to help other people and be successful in my own right. And I think just having that drive and determination for those things kind of carries you through the hard times. But I definitely still feel like it's a struggle all the time, and I feel like, there's probably days where my kids would be like, no, she's not all that. And
I think every parent experiences that.
so yeah, when it's like 8:30 and I'm going, shoot, I haven't made dinner yet, and we are just now getting home. So I think it's definitely a really hard thing to balance in today's world.
Sounds like you
And I
do it.
think it's okay to let yourself go heavily in certain areas at certain times in your life. I think we also have to remember that we're in seasons of our life that, every season's not going to look the same. And sometimes it's going to be super busy, and then you're going to need a break for a while. And so I kind of have always operated that way.
Yeah, that's great. It sounds like you're really grounded in your values and what matters most, which probably helps you direct your time where needed in the critical moments.
Yeah, definitely know what I want to create, and I think that definitely helps. I think having a clear vision for your future is such a critical piece of it that a lot of people that I talk to seem to struggle with, I think, and that I feel like pulls you in different directions a lot more easily. But yeah, just keep re-examining those values and what's working for you and what's not working for you. And it's not going to be perfect, and it's definitely going to be messy and chaotic at times.
Yep. So for the young influencers, young aspiring influencers out there, if you could go back to when you were 20, what would you do differently?
I don't know that I would do anything different, just because I feel like I've always felt like all of my experiences have led me to where I am. And I made some choices that were definitely made my life a lot harder. I had my kids when I was 19 and 20. And so I never had my 20s like to figure myself out or find myself. But I had my family to take care of, and I had these little people who were looking up to me and needed me. And it has not been perfect or easy or any of that, but I feel like there's so much growth that happened for me through all of those experiences that I wouldn't really change anything. I think I would maybe care less about what certain people thought, because it didn't really serve me very well. That would be, I guess, the one thing is I wish I would have done certain things sooner, but my fear held me back.
Yep, that's definitely common. I understand that. The fears and caring too much what other people think, I think, is one of the biggest challenges for entrepreneurs, influencers, leaders to get past, for them to have the freedom and ability to impact in the ways that the world needs them to. That's good advice. Do you have a number one book recommendation or quote for the influencers listening to this for 2017?
I do, and I actually have it. Hold on, I have it right here. This is like the holy grail for me. It's really thick, but it looks really terrible. It's Tim Ferriss's book, Tools of Titans, and it looks very daunting, but everything in it are just short little, actually taken from his podcast interviews that he's done over the years, and just compiled into really easy to use and read format. And it has so much good information and so many different life hacking tools to try that I just absolutely love it. My brother gave it to me for Christmas, and it is like top of my list right now.
Awesome. I love it. I also got that book for Christmas, and I'm also quite a fan so far. I've got a long ways to go in it, but it have been really, I would just validate everything you've said so far. Speaking of
Yeah.
resources and tools, you also have created your own life planner recently to help people manage and balance and stay focused. So could you maybe just tell them
Yes.
what that's about and how they can get their hands on a copy of it?
Yes, and I have that here too. So this is the first prototype that I created, and it's a planning system and journaling system for living your best life every day. And basically, I personally felt this need to have something that was a little bit more all encompassing than just your typical planning system. And I really wanted a way to document my gratitude every day and have my workout and my eating habits all in one place, and have my goal setting, so that I could have it all in one place, rather than like right now I had 3 different journals that I would keep every day, and it kind of just became too much, I guess. And so it kind of was inspired by that. And then as I've gone along, I've tweaked more things, and I'm going to be coming out with one that's a little bit more streamlined and not so girly fringy, um, and just really want to make it something that's user friendly. I also really want it to be big enough that people could actually write on it and have everything there. I feel like so many of them are so small that it's like you could write like one thing on your calendar for the day, and that's about all the space you'd have. So I made sure it had lots of room for writing, and it has a monthly strategy session in it so that people can really take time to think about what they want to focus on for the month, and then focus that even more, narrow it down even more for their week, and then narrow it down even further into their day. So kind of taking that big picture and narrowing it down for people who, like me, are a little bit not detail oriented. I would say I'm more big picture. So just kind of being able to look at the big picture and break it down into actionable steps. And you can find it on my website on yourbestlifedaily.com. Right now there's a downloadable version that people can buy on there, and then there's also pre-orders for the one like this that you see that's all bound, and they come in quarterly books. So this one, every one is 3 months worth of planning and goal setting.
Well, I love it. I bought the digital version. I was incredibly impressed with it. And I think everyone should go to yourbestlifedaily.com and follow not only this, but all the other content you're producing and putting out. And I think they'd be really blessed by it. So on top of that, you also have an event coming up on April 21st, I believe it is. Could you maybe just tell the audience and the women in the audience what that is?
Yeah. So for all of you women, sorry guys, you're not invited, but it's a women's life visioning night. So it's going to be, we're going to be doing vision boards. We're going to be doing some goal setting and value planning systems that I've created to kind of help you get your life vision really clear and defined for the next year, 5 years, 10 years down the road, so that you're able to better say no to the things that aren't going to bring you towards that vision, like we were talking about earlier. It should be a lot of fun. There's a lot of great women I know already that are going, and I'm really looking forward to it because I love that space and I love helping women create the lives of their dreams and really talking about balance. I think that's a huge struggle for so many women. So it's something that is definitely going to be a part of that vision night. And we're going to have dinner together and hopefully get to know each other better and just really connect, because I think connection is one of those things we really miss in today's world.
Yeah, I love it. I can't wait to hear about it.
Yeah, and that is actually on the website too. There's an events section and there's more detailed information there.
Wonderful. Well, last question I have for you is that with so much going on in society today, what is one thing you believe we need more from individuals in society?
I really believe that if you see a need, if you see a problem, I think so many people can identify the problems that they see with the world. And if you see it, go out and do something, even if it's something little. I love your dream big, act small. I really believe that it just takes everybody going out and doing that one little thing. You know, you may not be able to start a nonprofit organization, but you might be able to go out and just maybe go walk around Portland and talk to the homeless, or go, serve somebody in your community that is hurting, or bring a meal to a family that maybe needs one. So if we just all do that and don't think, oh, I'm too small to do this, or I don't have enough time to be a part of this whole organization. I think that hangs so many people up. And just be the change you want to see in the world. That's really what it boils down to, and we can all do a better job of that every day.
I love it. Thank you so much for being such a great walking, living representation of somebody who's has the ability to dream big and the willingness to act small. continue to be an influencer. Audience members, thank you so much for tuning in and listening. We're going to continue to try to bring in amazing guests like Jocelyn, who are changing the world so that you can learn and grow and become influencers yourself in both your local and global community. And we will continue to dream big and act small here. Thanks for listening. Take care. We'll see you guys next time.